Hey guys, it's Zoe again from Stick It To Them Nails, and today I'm going to show you how to make a small stand to hold tiny sized nail tips. Now I think most of us that have made press-on nails before will have probably come across the problem of how to mount tiny sized nails on a stand so that it's not too wide for the nail itself. What can happen if the stand is too wide for the nail is your gel polish can actually go over the edge onto the stand, and if you cure it like that, then you'll have to go back and actually file that extra section off. So I had to play around one day with some polygel and discovered a way to modify a stand like this to make it so that you can hold those small tips a lot easier. So the polygel that I'm using is from Planet Nails. It's called Iconic, and this one is in a really cool glow-in-the-dark purple colour. You'll also need the backing of a nail form. And make sure you use the shiny side of the backing and not the papery side. I tend to do this in two parts, so start with a small amount of the Iconic and place it onto the nail form backing. So what we're going for here is basically a small piece that we can add on to the top of whatever stand you're using already that will be skinny enough to go under those tiny little nails so they won't be touching the edges. So you can see I'm working it into a small rectangular shape, and I'm trying to actually work it up so that it is taller. So once you've made this first part, you can attach it to your stand and actually extend it and make it taller again. So don't stress too much if this one is maybe not as tall as you had thought you might need. To make this process even quicker, you could probably get two brushes and actually gently squeeze them together on the sides to sort of extend that and lengthen that shape upwards. But as you can see, I was holding this up to get a bit closer to the camera, so I only had the one hand free. But definitely feel free to try that out. And when you're happy with that, you can cure it. Now when I first started using these stands, which are my favourite, I bought some gold and silver ones, as you can see, and what I found, again as you can see, is that the foil on those came off pretty quickly and they look pretty awful. So I've decided to use one of these to modify for my stand today. We're going to need a nice clean smooth surface for this stand edition, so I'm just taking a buffer. I think this one is an 80 grit buffer, and I'm just going to buff off any of that extra foil that's flaky, because obviously that could potentially create an uneven surface and I don't want my little stand edition to pop off. And when you're done buffing, just give it a clean with some alcohol. So now we have a nice clean smooth base to attach that polygel to. So grab your little creation out of the lamp and just be aware that if it's a little bit thick, sometimes some of it might not cure. You can see a little bit of it there on mine in the center hasn't cured, so I've just popped that back in the lamp again to cure that. So give that a little wipe to remove the sticky layer, and then I like to give the base in particular just a little file to get that nice and smooth so that it can attach to the stand nice and cleanly. Once again, give it a wipe and then you're ready to attach it to the stand. Now, if you've watched my other videos, you could probably have guessed that I would be using my beloved Lastic from Planet Nails to attach this to the stand. Now to start with, we really just want to get it on there, so I put a thin layer, you don't need a lot of it, a thin layer on there, and we're just going to position that little stand right where we want it. I'm a bit precious with making sure that it's right in the center, as you can see. It is going to ideally be there for a while, so I like to make sure that I get it as central as possible, so when the nails are on the stand, they're as straight as possible. I would also recommend looking at it from all angles before you cure it. It might look straight from the top, but then if you look at it from the side or down the barrel, you might notice that it is off to the side. So double check that and then cure it when you're ready. So this is where we're up to. We have secured that bottom piece onto the stand. So I'm going to come in now, remove the sticky layer and actually file the sides straight and even file the skinny sides a little bit rounded. That's again just me being a little bit perfectionistic, but again it's going to be there for a while, so I figured why not put a few extra minutes into making it look nice. So bear in mind that we haven't super secured this to the base yet. We've really just laid down a thin layer and cured it onto that. So elastic is really strong, so I have found that I can file this quite comfortably without having to hold on to it. You could use a builder gel or something else instead, but you might just want to be careful that you don't push too hard against it and actually knock it off the base. Once you're happy with your side walls that you have shaped, give it a wipe, and then I'm going to come in and extend it a little bit higher because I'd like it to be a little bit taller. So squeeze out a little bit more of the Iconic, pop it onto the top of the piece that we've just been working with, and you're just going to mold that into shape gently, same as the first time, but now you can use that bottom piece as a guide for the width. Apologies that my camera kept going out of focus as well. I'm not sure why it kept doing that today, but it was being mean. So I hope you can still get a good enough idea of what I am doing. It's fairly straightforward at this point. We're really just trying to mimic the shape beneath and extend the height. As I said earlier, you probably could have just left it at the first section that we did and not extended it further. I find that I just like to have my nails kind of free and clear of anything getting in the way when I'm doing my press-ons. So I thought, why not extend it? It looks a little funny, I know, but no one is going to see it but you, and if it makes your job easier, I say do it. So this is what I've ended up with. I'm pretty happy with that, knowing that I can once again file it if I need to. So I'm going to pop it in the lamp and cure it. So now that's cured, we can once again remove the sticky layer and go to work filing those edges again. So I've come in with a firmer file this time. You can use either, but a firmer file is easier to get a nice straight side because it's not going to flex while you are pushing against the nail, or in this case the polygel. So come in, do the sides nice and straight. I've just come in and kind of rounded those edges a little bit, and for this last step I will come across and kind of smooth the top a little bit. So I don't do a heap, just kind of make sure it's, you know, kind of looks a little bit nice and there's nothing sort of bumpy that would make attaching the nail a little bit more annoying. Once you finish filing, of course, pop in again and remove any dust and give it a once over to make sure that you're happy with it. Next, we want to make sure that it is properly secured to the stand. So I'm going to do one application over the entire thing to seal it all together. So we're going to cover the entire addition that we've just made out of the polygel, and then we're going to extend that right down onto the top of that stand that we have placed it on. So you've got one piece, if you will, one application of gel binding it all together. And you'll notice that I'm deliberately placing extra gel at the base where the addition is being attached to the stand that was already there. So I just want to make sure that there is enough gel there to make a really nice strong connection. So once you're happy with that, you can cure it and check out how cool the glow-in-the-dark Iconic looks. I love it. Now, Lastic actually cures with a sticky layer, but once you've wiped that off, it does have a shiny finish. So if you want to, you could leave it here and be completely done. However, I am going to put a matte top coat on. I'm using the awesome one that I love from Planet Nails. I feel like when I'm attaching the nails to the stands, it attaches a little bit better to a matte surface. So that is why I'm going ahead and doing this. So just apply a thin coat over the same area that we applied the Lastic just before. Once that's done, cure it and your little stand is complete. So this is what it looks like fully done, and I'm going to give you my tip for what I think is the best way to attach nails to these stands. I've heard a lot of people say they use Blu Tack to attach nails to these stands, but I don't know what Blu Tack is like in other countries, but in Australia it's quite soft and malleable, and it does a pretty terrible job of holding nails on the stands. So I discovered that if you use adhesive tabs, so the same tabs that you would use to attach the nails to your fingers, it holds them on beautifully. Really good strength and stability for painting, and you can reuse them quite a few times before they lose their stick. So as you can see, I'll peel off an appropriate sized tab and stick it onto the top edge, and then press it down over the full top area of that stand. Then go ahead and peel off the backing. Then we're just going to go fold it back and forth so that it is not going over the edge of that top area of the stand. So you can see I'm just going to fold it back on top of itself and press that down very gently so you don't take off too much of the stick, and then fold it back again. Then I'll just lightly press that down and push down those little side edges as well. Then you're left with a really nice little adhesive stand that is small enough for those tiny little nail tip sizes. So this tip that I'm showing you now is a size 11 and is 9mm wide. So you can see there's still some space around the edges of this nail, so the stand would still fit an even smaller nail on there. And don't forget, you can make your stand a bit skinnier as well if you want to. I think one of the first ones I made was a bit skinnier than this one, but either way, for me, that's plenty of space. I'm just showing you with the tool there, just in case it's a bit hard to see with the camera, but there's definitely a clear gap there, so you shouldn't have any issues with your polish running over the edges of your nails onto your stand. So here's just an example of what they look like when you've got some nails on them. That little fingernail is the one I tend to use it for, just for the pinky. That's usually the only one I need it for. It will of course sit a little higher than the other nails, but that's just an aesthetic thing and won't make any difference to the functionality. And if anyone is interested in this particular set and knowing how it was made, it's the set of nails that I did for Luna Vexa for her video clip Like You Love Me. So if you haven't seen that, or if you haven't seen on my Instagram that I went on and on about it because I was so excited that my nails were in a video clip, then feel free to go check that out and I will link it below. And please let me know if you'd like to see a tutorial on how to make this set. Can you tell I got distracted with the bling in the camera? I have to say, these stands are really quite strong. I've made it, as I said, with Planet Nails products, with their Iconic, which is their hybrid gel acrylic product, and adhering it to the stand with Lastic, which is just amazing. If you use Lastic to adhere crystals, you pretty much need a chainsaw to get them off. So it's a flexible, soft product. It's a soak-off gel, but it is very, very strong. So that's it for this tutorial, guys. I really hope that was helpful. It's something that has been super helpful to me as a press-on nail maker. So fingers crossed it is helpful for you too. If it was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to see more similar content from me in the future. Stay safe, guys. Bye.